Hidden Truths channel. How's everybody doing this evening? Well, tonight's live stream is going to be on can Maduro get a fair trial, especially what by America we consider a fair trial, and Trump and the Nobel Prize in Greenland, and we'll end up in Minnesota. So it's going to be an interesting live stream. Anyway, got to wait a few minutes for some people to show up. Have YouTube try to send out notifications. I tell you what, YouTube is so upset with my channel right now. You know, I have relatives that watch my channel. And when they sit there and tell me after subscribing, they get unsubscribed, and then they can't find my content, they're not getting my notifications. You know, like I'm sure a lot of creators where they got family members that watch and form them on how hard it is to find their channel sometimes if YouTube's against it. So that's what I'm dealing with. But they definitely haven't liked what I've put out lately. So yeah, I'm over the target, everybody, and it's upsetting the algorithm. Can you imagine letting a computer algorithm run your business, basically? I mean, run your, not the finances and stuff, but run what product get put on the shelf, how much of it gets put on the shelf. None of that's done by human figuring stuff out. That's all done by the algorithm figuring it out. And then, you program a bias into it. Like I say, it's like having, during the early 80s, the Cabbage Patch style craze and stuff, or Rubik's Cube, whatever, and taking it off the shelf because the owner of the store don't like it. Anyway, that's what's dealing with the social media. And, that's a lot of the problems that we're having in this country is because other opinions aren't allowed to be heard. All these people that got duped into taking the black labeled COVID vaccine and now are regretting it and telling people like us, well, why didn't you speak up? Why didn't you speak louder and tell us it was dangerous? We did. Like I say, I got a channel canceled because I was trying to warn people, and that's what happens. And all this that's going on, it's getting harder and harder to find stuff that they don't want you to see. Even on the Minneapolis, what's going on in Minneapolis now, finding stuff on that's not as, YouTube's not pushing it like they used to. They don't want to see their useful idiot soldiers getting the beat down because American tax-paying, law-abiding citizens have had enough. So, let's just say social media protects who's ever directing which way the wind blows. So, crazy time. Anyway, got some people showing up. Let's talk about, can Maduro get a fair trial in the United States? Now, what does Americans think of as for a fair trial? Well, what's guaranteed us in the Constitution, a speedy trial. You have a right to know your accusers. You have a right to know what your crimes are. You have a right to present evidence. All that stuff, right? A right to a defense. But also, one other thing you have a right to? What's your jury supposed to consist of? Your peers. Your peers. So you tell me who Maduro's going to have on his jury that's his peers. What, are they going to put world leaders on as the jury? No, they're going to have Americans. This is the whole thing about this, people. We just can't go arresting people, leaders of countries, because they go against what our laws are in this country. Remember when England was talking its stupid shit on how they were going to come after Americans for posting stuff on social media that was against their laws? And we all laughed at them and said, yeah, try it. We kicked you out of this country once, twice. We'll do it again. Like I say, how is Maduro going to have a jury of his peers? What, are they going to bring up Venezuelans here that hate him? So they can swear them into being on an American jury? Like I say, he can't have a jury of his peers. There's no way this is going to fly. I mean, the defense attorney, he can call a mistrial. How can a jury of Americans judge a leader of another country for breaking American laws, when he wasn't even in America. This is beyond stupid. Okay, and I've heard they've already dropped some of the charges. See, this is the thing, people. He's going to get found innocent. And then what? Then what? I mean, what about all those security guards that Delta Force killed? Well, that'd be murder now, wouldn't it? I mean, if Maduro's acquitted of his crimes, that means anybody that participated in his kidnapping, so word Trump uses, we kidnapped him, from Pam Bondi and stuff, they're all in big trouble. And so you just can't go around because, like I say, I'm not supporting Maduro. Okay? I don't support any tyrant. But I guarantee you, we got more tyrants in our fucking government than any other government in this world. That's causing more hate and discontent in the world. Maduro wasn't causing hate and discontent throughout the world. He was just putting a thorn in Trump's side that was causing Trump pain. And he wanted to do something about it. But we seem to sit there, and the United States is just a thorn bush that we're poking at everybody. And, Trump don't see any problem with that, why he should be arrested. By the way, let's get into it. Like I say, there's no way he can have a fair trial. He cannot have a jury of his peers. Like I say, who is a world leader of a country? Who's their peers? And then Trump still says we run Venezuela. I haven't seen no signs of that. I mean, our oil companies don't want to invest in Venezuela because it's going to cost them so much money. You have common sense, or the rest of the world applauds you. Well, I don't know where you're from, Alex, but I tell you what, like I say, if you're from another country and you got to worry more about what happens in Washington, D.C. than what happens in your own capital of your own country, that's when the United States overstep its bounds. A lot of us Americans, us vets and stuff, aren't for this. But for some reason, we just haven't been pushed hard enough to end this shit. I mean, I can just imagine Xi Jinping and Putin rolling on the ground laughing about Europe and the United States maybe going to war over Greenland. We'll get into that anyway. Okay? Crazy times. Okay? But with this Maduro thing, say he gets found innocent. He gets to go back to his country a hero. They make him more powerful than he ever was. Make him a worldwide hero. Somebody who stood up to the United States with all their shenanigans and beat them. Because like I say, how can we charge a world leader with crimes against United States crimes? That's ridiculous. And like I say, all those drug boats that got blown up, did anybody see any evidence of drugs? I'm not saying it wasn't on there, but if you were in a court of law and you were a judge and you were going to the prosecution and say, prove there were drugs on that boat. Prove it. Besides seeing a missile blow the boat up. Prove there were drugs on the boat. And they're going through their paperwork. Well, we ain't got any real proof they were on there. Well, you can't admit it. It's not evidence. Anyway. When Maduro beats this, it's just going to show how weak Trump really is. And like I say, as a world leader, would you trust our government? I mean, would you, if you were, saying stuff that upset Trump, would you come to the White House for a meeting, knowing that you might have an indictment against you and be arrested? Because you broke some law of the United States, even though our politicians break our Constitution and our laws all the time. Like I say, we're all upset with Maduro. I mean, hate to break it to you Americans, but a lot of people all over the world, around the world, don't look at America in a very favorable sense either, okay? And, like I say, Maduro's going to beat the rap watchers. no rap against them, and then people lost their lives, and they interfered with another sovereign country's internal affairs. It's just a bad time, people, just a bad time. But don't worry. Trump's everybody's savior. Frankly, he didn't say nothing about this on the campaign trail. Anybody says he did, show me where. I can show you where he said he was going to release the list, but I don't remember no regime change or taking over Greenland or none of that talk. Anyway, so let's get into Greenland as long as we're talking about Greenland. I guess. Well, no, we don't look favorable on the U.S. anymore. Some of us have sense of realize that not all Americans are bad, though. Yeah, just like did not see. This is what we see. What you see, I tell you, Alex, go watch some of my other shorts. Go to my channel and watch my other content. I live in an area of America that's still traditional America. You don't have to lock your doors. Don't have to take your keys out of your vehicle. Very low population, hardworking individuals that are different political parties, but we all come together. We would have never, you come into our area trying to start this shit, we're all going to come together no matter what political affiliation and kick you out of our town. But see, this is the thing. We can't get enough Americans together that have had enough. They got everybody on government entitlements. My God, oh my God, what am I going to happen if I don't get my Social Security check? What's going to happen if Walmart goes down to McDonald's? Or we have a rough time for a couple days. You got to remember, most Americans, when they lose Facebook for a couple hours, they're losing their minds. I got to see it all the time. Got to sit there, walk through Walmart, and see the younger generation that's supposed to take our place. Yeah, right. Where? First of all, the public will never get the whole story, let alone geopolitics strategy. You know, that's one thing, being in the Marine Corps and traveling the world and getting to see how the world's really like. I tend to understand the crap. And I saw the hatred. This was when Reagan was in office. And I saw the hatred that countries were forming for the United States because we just go into these countries and do what the fuck ever we wanted. Push them around. Anyway, back to Trump and Greenland, okay? Like I say, for all you people that listen to watch my channel from other countries, if you watch my channel, I'm trying to organize. I'm trying to get the vets together, the well-regulated militia. We got the Second Amendment, a gift from the Founding Fathers, a miracle from God. But you still got to have the will to use it, okay? And for some reason, like you say, people are upset and stressed out in this country and, heavily medicated. And they don't understand what freedom is. Like I say, when you live out here like I do, you understand freedom. You can see it, you can feel it. We have 4 cops in the whole county, all right? Because we don't have crime. Believe me, if somebody's doing a criminal act, the whole town knows about it before the cops do. Anyway, I like living until Leave It to Beaverland. That's why I'm on the outside looking in the bubble of everybody in the United States being like, what the hell's wrong with you people? You know why? Because they're all chasing the almighty freaking dollar that is worthless. Anyway, it's changed a lot from when I was a kid. The United States has big time. And, like I say, we need to do something about it, but not enough Americans are feeling the pinch bad enough yet. Like I say, if they have to go a week without Walmart or McDonald's or, internet, okay, the most heavily medicated country in the world, what happens when they run out of their psycho meds, okay? Look at Minneapolis. Those are people that are on their psycho meds. What do you think it's going to look like when all these people aren't on their psycho meds? I'm glad I live out here. Anyway, Trump in Greenland. Let's get into that. Okay. So Trump sends a text to the Norwegian leader, and I guess maybe some other leaders in Europe, saying, hey, basically whining that he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize, and like the Norwegian government gives it out. I mean, I would assume that's a board of really smart people, right? Anyway, and in that how he stopped 8 wars. Anybody want to put in the chat what wars those were? Because I don't know what wars he stopped. And now that he don't have to be the president of peace because, the world leaders don't respect him as a peace president. I voted for Trump. I'll admit that. But let's just say a lot of the stuff that he's doing now wasn't, in the campaign. Now with ICE and getting the illegals out, yeah, but he's letting it turn into emergency, so he's got to call in the military. I mean, the United States now has military in our streets. Anybody in these other countries that are listening to me right now think that was ever going to happen? I mean, us Americans, we always saw that on TV from other countries. And not only do we have a military in the street, but we have them getting shot down, dead in D.C. All I got to say is everybody in the West that's addicted to the U.S. dollar, what's going to happen when the U.S. falls? Just study Rome in the Dark Ages. Easy enough. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of history, and it all repeats itself. Especially the Roman history compared to ours. I mean, they had their little Epstein Island. Rome had their Epstein Island. Tiberius or whatever. Caprice. Island of Sin. See, people don't change. The thing is, once they get so much money and power, they just turn evil because they got to do more nastier shit to get the thrill of living. Anyway, but Trump in Greenland. Okay, we're the United States. We don't subjugate people. We don't take over a country and say, now you're U.S. citizens. Okay, it's retarded what he's doing, and then saying, well, if China and Russia can't have it. See, there's something awful important in Greenland. Whether it be just they found an oil deposit or rare earth minerals or something, or gold, who knows? There's something there. Something that the U.S. is willing to go to war over with an ally. Something there. This is no longer about the Golden Dome. This is way different than that. Like I say, we could, put our military bases there to protect America with the Golden Dome, have radars and stuff there and missile launch sites without having to take over the country. But then again, we're never going to be told the truth. But, I mean, why should Denmark give it up? Oh, because they had boats land there first, so they claim it. Trump is just coming with shit from. It's been recognized as Denmark's territory, Trump. Just the way it is. Denmark supports that island right now. And they don't want to give it up. And when they find out what's so important there, and I'm sure Denmark's probably like, we need to find out why the U.S. really wants this island. And I'm sure they're going to find out. But Trump's willing to go to war to get Greenland from an ally. We're going to go to war with Europe over Greenland. Anyway, like you say, you never know what's around the corner for next week. Today's world is just getting stranger by the minute. Anyway, but yeah, he's all upset about not getting the Nobel Peace Prize. But like I say, what wars did he stop? Hello from Russia. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I got a certain percentage of my people that watch from Russia. I expect the FBI to be knocking on my doors. Why do you got all those Russians watching you? Because they understand freedom now. I mean, I would expect Russia to understand freedom after having been under the Soviet yoke for all those years. All I know is the Soviet economy and the Soviet people, I mean, the Russian economy and the Russian people are living a lot better than we are. They're, and they're being bombed. It's hard, from when I was in the Marine Corps and being taught to hate terrorists and communists, and the Cold War was still going on, and then wow. Anyway, but Russia has a right to defend itself just like every other country. And NATO did lie to them in the early 90s. We're not going to put any more countries in the NATO. I mean, you can look at a map and see what they're fucking doing. Not blind. Anyway, strange times, people, strange times. But hey, you know what? Since Trump wants to support, we don't hear much about Iran, him supporting the revolutionary, the people trying to take over the government. But would that mean that Trump thinks that's okay? That if he were to have an uprising in this country, and let's say Putin wanted to sit there and support the other side with arms, I guess he'd be okay to do that now, wouldn't he? Yeah, let's see how much Trump would be for. Yeah, the people deserve their government of choice when he's got to step down. Okay, but like in our Declaration of Independence, our founding fathers charged us, made it our duty to throw off this government. And right now, the American citizen is derelict in their duties. And the problem is the whole world's suffering because of it. Just, our government's messing with too much shit. I would sit there and love to bring we don't need all these bases all over the world. Not at all. We don't need $1.5 trillion, $1.5 trillion in a defense Department of War budget. 50% increase in 1 year. That's nuts. That's not talking peace to me. We're gearing up for war, people, gearing up for war. Is Greenland going to be the tip? Like I say, if we start fighting Europe, which I'm sure we could beat, just like I know Russia could beat Europe, no problem, okay? Hands down. But, why would Putin have to do anything if the allies are fighting with each other? Anyway, this whole Greenland thing, it's not right. It's not what America stands for, okay? It's like he's trying to carve out an empire. Yeah, trying to carve out an empire in the Western Hemisphere. If you don't sit there and do what that's going to benefit the United States, we're just going to sit there, kidnap your leader, or take over your country, or just start harassing you. Okay, that's not the United States. Anyway, and maybe one day Americans will stand up like our founding fathers did and put an end to it. Till then, here I am on YouTube, a Marine that's had enough. Now let's talk about the Minnesota stupid that is going on. Like I say, if you're in another country watching these videos, what's going on in these bigger cities and these people that are taking on the cops, taking on cars, then they're getting hurt, they're getting the beat down. I mean, the average law-abiding taxpayer that goes to work every day is getting sick of this shit. I mean, you're going to sit there and attack a guy's vehicle and try to dent it after, he paid $60,000, could finally afford something like that, and then you think you're going to stand in front of it, and then when he gets you out, you're going to beat on his car? I loved watching that beat down. That guy got out of his Suburban because, it must have been ice. He was driving his Suburban and did the beat down on this guy. Fucking A right. But see, the ones who need the beat down are the ones that are promoting all this shit. And that would be the politicians on both sides. ICE could have put an end to this way back in Portland when they were doing this stupid shit. But see, they've been emboldened ever since the George Floyd shit. They can sit there and do anything because it's a fiery but peaceful protest, mostly peaceful protest, right? I mean, news agency with whole block on fire behind them, fiery but mostly peaceful. They talk about trying to get you to believe a certain way. But these fools are emboldened. I mean, they're stopping cars now and saying, do you support ICE? All this shit. That's against the law. But don't worry, more people are going to start dying on both sides. And pretty soon it's going to be Americans killing Americans. I mean, that one guy that was on January 6th, he went in there by himself to burn the Quran, and they were pounding on him because he's getting out of there. That's stupidity. That's, tough guy mentality or whatever. But, yeah, it's going to be Americans killing Americans. I mean, I don't understand why I could have an American in this country that is for illegal immigration, that is for illegals defrauding the government or the taxpayer. Who can stand for that? They're not even smart enough to know that they're lowering, you're standing up for somebody and defending them as they're a victim, as they're lowering your standard of living. Everyone you bring in is lowering your standard of living. Rent prices are crazy now. Like I'm sure all these other countries that are dealing with these immigrants, because there's not enough housing. I mean, the average American can't afford to live in their car anymore. But you got Somalians driving six-figure vehicles, living in multi-million-dollar mansions, all off the American taxpayer. And our government sees nothing. But don't worry, Pam Bondi and they're under investigation. Tim Walz and Mayor Fry and all that, they're under investigation. You know why Tim Walz is never going to be arrested? Okay, is because he's a sick fuck and probably knows a lot of people that are on the Epstein list. And if he does get arrested, he give it 3 or 4 days and he's going to get the old Epstein treatment. They can't have anybody talking. I guarantee you that's why he hasn't been arrested yet. Same with that probably Mayor Jacob Fry. The world, these people are fucking sick. That's why all the Maduro stuff, Maduro's so bad. Trump had every right to go in there and do it. Really? You don't think there's any countries that may have the right to kidnap President Trump then and put him on trial? Operation Warp Speed was a crime against humanity. It was against one of the 10 principles. Was against a few of the principles of the Nuremberg Code. And any breaking of the principles of the Nuremberg Code is crimes against humanity. Check it out once. Okay? Anyway, crazy times, folks, crazy times. And then, like I say, I'm on YouTube trying to do my thing, but I think my days are going to be numbered on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for 2.5 years now, trying to spread the word, trying to get people to organize. You look back at my videos when I started 2.5 years ago, things haven't gotten better at all. It doesn't matter what party's in office. Our country's going down the fucking drain. Like I say, now we got troops in the streets in the United States of America. But don't worry. We're going to solve all our problems, right? The average American's working his ass off. My kids are working, having to put in more hours than I did, making more money, but having less money at the end of the day. I talk to them about not going in debt all the time. I mean, if you don't have money to live, you definitely don't have money to give a bank as an interest payment or a credit card or anything like that. But Americans, especially the younger ones that are in their 20s and stuff, it's like, I'm not going to do this for another 40 or 50 years. You know, they don't see the future that we saw when we were younger. But then again, our future's being dashed too. I got to, go into my retirement years fighting a war possibly. Crazy times. But whoever thought we weren't going to have to fight for freedom again in the United States of America? The reason we're going to have to fight for it again because we were stupid thinking that the government was going to protect it for us. Like put it in a little box, always make sure that we had it. And they were never going to intrude on it and stuff. We got lulled to sleep, or a lot of Americans did. Like I say, government entitlements, they can't see they're at the magic show and they're just, more coins thrown at me. Must talk about that. Silver was over $94 an ounce today. Gold was over pushing $4,800 an ounce. Okay. Eventually, everything else is going to follow. Okay. So that's all I got for tonight. I appreciate everybody being here. You say YouTube doesn't like pushing my stuff much, which is fine. Because, when this all comes down, we're all going to have to deal with the repercussions of retarded people in charge, no matter what your wealth is, no matter what your position is. If you're a human being, and sad to say, another living creature on this planet, you're going to have to deal with when mankind finally loses its mind. And you look at Minneapolis, like I say, those are people that are on medication. What's going to happen when those people can't get their medication? Scary thought. Anyway, if you like the content, please hit the thumbs up to subscribe and the bell notification. And like I say, check out my other content. See what it's like to actually still be able to live free in this country. And not in fear. Anyway, I feel for you people in the cities. If you ever get out here in the country and you stay long enough, you'll get outside the bubble. And you'll be so happy in life when you can see what's going on. But then, like I say, you just want to shake people, wake them up and say, can't you see it? But see, they're all chasing that mighty fucking dollar. Mighty dollar. Something you cannot take with you when you die. And that's what everybody strives in this world. The only thing they strive to get the most of. Well, they're not living life and pushing everything else that could give them a good life aside because they're focused on one thing, having more than their neighbor, more than the Joneses. But anyway, I took my cog out of that system. Appreciate everybody being here. And we'll see what tomorrow night brings. But, crazy times, people, prepare. You can't change what's happening. Okay? The avalanche has already started down the mountain. But you're far enough down the mountain where you can still react to it. Get in a situation where you can react to survive. What you need to do. Anyway, enough of that preaching. But I appreciate everybody being here, and I'll see you guys later. This is Tom with Hidden Truths. I'm out of here.